Hey guys, it's Rachel from the Little Green Lamb, and today I have a book review on Hopeless and Losing Hope. These books are both by Colleen Hoover, and they're part of a duology. There's also an additional companion novella, but I haven't got to that, so I'm just going to be reviewing these two books. I just wanted to acknowledge the fact that there was. If I'm looking down or over, I'm looking at my notebook, which holds all my notes about this review. And also, before I get into a brief synopsis, in case you're new to my book reviews or just need a refresher, I rate my books in 5 different categories: plot, characters, cover, suspense, and overall in terms of reading, again, very soon 5 out of 5, not so soon 1 out of 5. So basically, to sum up these books, this might not be the best synopsis, but basically this one is told in Sky's point of view and this one's told in Holder's point of view. And in this book, which is the first book in the series, they both meet and they kind of are drawn to each other. She's always been homeschooled, so she's kind of, you see her branching out and meeting friends besides her best friend Six, who's her next door neighbor. And you kind of see how her and Holder's relationship progresses, and there's a lot of twists and turns along the way. And then this one recreates the events from the first book, but also you get to see more additional chapters in Holder's perspective and kind of see what he was going through, as well as you get journal entries he's writing in here. So you have like sort of mixed medium, as well as in here you get a few text message parts, which I do like, to break up the chapters, but not like an abundance. Supply I give a 4 out of 5 because this is not my favorite Colleen Hoover books. I find I liked some of her other books I've already read more, but it was still really enjoyable to read, and it's not my favorite Colleen Hoover book, so that's why I didn't give it a 5, because I had some problems with some parts, because some parts I found kind of lagged on. Like, it took me at least a good 50 pages to get really immersed in the novel, where typically your books I get immersed from the first page, is what I've been finding. And basically, yeah, this basically took me a while. There were some boring parts throughout the way, kind of dry parts when something had just happened and it's kind of like dull, like it's like I want to know more information rather than more feelings talk. That's just me. And also I suggest, if you're reading both these, I read both these back to back. I was also in a reading slump when I was reading at least the second book more so than the first book. The first book I was just, slumping into the reading slump. But I suggest reading a book in between the sequel, because this is mild repetition, and if you are in a reading slump or you just don't like that fact, if reading a book in between you'd forget quite a bit of things. I forgot a little bit towards the ending of this book because it's taken me I think 13 days to read this, which is very long for me because it isn't the biggest book and it's also summer vacation, so I typically read through books faster. But because of the slump, I found it really hard jumping into this one right away because it is, once again, mild repetition occurs. So characters I give a 4.5 out of 5. Now, I felt a little bit disconnected from both characters in the book, Sky and Holder, but I think that was the stylistic approach, because you find out a lot about their lives, past, present, and a little bit of future, at least in the second book. But I think that was kind of made for that because the characters, as I put down here, I'll just read it off. I said I felt a little disconnected from the characters, but at the same time, they were somewhat disconnected from themselves. I found like they were still finding themselves, so I think maybe that was a stylistic approach. I like the side characters, but I wish you would have got more like in depth. Like her best friend goes away, which is like right in the first chapter. So sorry about that if that's a little bit of a spoiler. Not even major or crucial to the plot, but basically like stuff like that, like the side characters, her mom, his mom, like all that. Like you don't really get a lot of them. That's why I gave it a point off, because I like when the rest of the characters are included. Like I know it can't be too long because this book was long and it had lots of twists and turns, but I felt like this book should have expanded more on side characters to really make it come full circle. That was my only complaint, but I did like the characters of Sky and Holder, and I just really liked the world, but that's the only thing I had a little bit of a problem with. The side characters didn't have enough character development. Covers, I give a 1 out of 5. I think these covers are really cringy. Like this one's a little bit better, but this one just looks really, I don't know, it just like it's like she's looking into like a white light, and like she's on like a shag carpet, and then he's just staring. Yeah, they're not my favorite covers, but I do give it a 1 out of 5 because I love how they look with the spines. I think that's way prettier, and yeah, I just like that better. And then I said suspense, 4 out of 5. These books both kept me gripped. I read during a reading slump, but I was still gripped with them. It was just hard for me to pick up a book because, being in a slump, you don't want to pick up a book, you want to watch TV or do something else. There's a lot of twists and turns, and overall I give the books a 4 out of 5. I definitely read them again. They were my favorite Colleen Hoover books, but they're really good still nonetheless. Also, I have a bit of a spoiler-ish part right now. I'm just going to hold the book. It's just a quick little thing, so if you want to mute, and then I'll be back after. But basically, the spoiler's going to happen now. So this is not really a spoiler about the book per se, but if you guys have read this and have watched the show Finding Carter, it's an MTV show. Was it just me, or did it seem kind of familiar to Finding Carter at the same time, especially when you find out, but like not all of it, but like kind of the sense of it at first when you're finding out that she was abducted kind of thing, and that her life's been normal and stuff. If anybody else has watched the show and kind of saw the similarities between them, definitely let me know and we can discuss in the comments. Okay, so that was just something I want to talk about, a relation between big plot points in this and like another show. So this has been my book review on Hopeless and Losing Hope. It was a really good duology. I definitely recommend it. And yes, I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye. But they still kept me gripped. There was lots of tosses and tosses. Why do I keep saying tosses?